Welcome to A Bit of Board Games, a casual podcast documenting the many failures and hopefully successes of Waffle Games, as we learn the ins and outs of board game design and self-publishing. Join us on this journey as we talk about a bit of life, a bit of design, and a bit of board games. Welcome back to another episode of A Bit of Board Games. Today is August 7th, 2023, and this is episode, I never looked this up. Is it 68, guys? I feel like I should just be able to count up by one each week.
It's hard. There's 6 days in between every single time you have to count up one.
A lot happens here. I'm going to go with 68. If not, just look at the episode title and you'll know what episode it is. I'm your host, Steven. And with me today are Trevor and Ralph. Hey!
Nice.
Game designers. One of them's an artist. One of them's not. And
I'm not.
And yeah, anyway. Man, what's going on, guys? I feel like we've been talking a lot about some stuff with the game. There's been a lot of just general stuff. I'll just regale you of my weekend first, actually.
I want to hear it.
So it started out like a normal weekend. You know, wrap up work. It's going great.
Couple orcs here and there.
Slaying some orcs, you know, the usual. And no flooding this time, so that's good. But Friday night we actually went on a date to a soccer game. So a local like Division II soccer game in our town.
The Switchy Boys.
Colorado Springs Switchback. And so we had a babysitter and went to the game, or went out to dinner, went to the game. It was a good time. First of all, babysitters, I don't like I guess maybe it's always been this way, but we paid more paying our babysitter than we did for the entire rest of the date. And like, she's a family friend, and it was even like a discounted rate. So that was a little disheartening to do that, but
so what I'm hearing is you have to pay it next time. What you need to do is pay a babysitter and then just stay in and make yourself dinner, and that's your date.
Hey, can you watch your kids? Okay, we're gonna make a nice dinner and then we're just gonna go for a walk. Is that cool? Like,
yeah.
The trick is to find a babysitter that doesn't look at themselves as a babysitter.
Yeah. Well, like my sister will watch the kids for free. Like that's great. And like we have a few people that are like, oh, you don't need to charge us, but then we feel bad, like well, like I don't want to just like take advantage.
Yeah,
of
but
them.
then you can kind of set a rate. You can be like, here's what's reasonable, instead of getting like ripped off. You know.
Yeah. But it's also like, anyway, I don't know. But we went on this date, went to the soccer game. It was awesome. We won. It was a good game. Go Switchbacks, yeah. Sports
I don't
games.
know who that is.
It's our local Division II soccer team, part of the USL, United Soccer League, Ralph.
I should have known.
Yeah, thank you. We left like when there's like 10 minutes left in the game because we're like, oh, it's gonna be busy. Everyone's gonna try to get out at the same time. Let's just peace out. We had just scored.
You're like that commercial, that State Farm commercial, right? Where it's all the guys that are becoming their parents, and they come up with a plan before even going into the game where they're gonna park and what time they're all gonna leave and like reconvene so that they can leave and not be stuck in traffic.
Yeah. It was great. We saw.
You're already there, dude.
We saw the final goal, and then we didn't know it was the final goal at the time, and it was actually like, as I was waiting for Libby to go to the bathroom right before we left, like we stood up and we were like at the top, like, and I was just kind of like watching while she was going to the bathroom, and then like it's like a corner kick, someone kicks it over, dude like heads it in. I'm like, whoa, that was awesome. One of 3 goals in the entire game. So we scored in the first like 11 minutes, and then like nothing for a long time, and then the other team scored halfway through the game, and then this last goal. And so we got home and Googled it, like, who won the game? We're like, oh sweet, we won. But as we were leaving, okay, so you know those like scooters you can like rent in like downtowns or like cities and stuff, and you like pay, and they've got like batteries and whatever, little electric scooters. So as we were leaving, there's this other couple they were gonna get these scooters and leave. And so the guy, gets he's on it, good to go, uh, and like just helping her kind of figure out the scooter for her. And then first of all, they get it on, and then she didn't push the kickstand up, which is like underneath the middle, like it just like pops down.
Yeah.
And so like she's trying to like push the scooter forward, is going, and they're like 3 feet in front of us. So I'm sitting there, I'm just like, okay, do we wait? Like, do we wait for them to go? Like, I don't want to start. I don't want to go right in front of them, and then they just like slam into our ankles or something. Um, so like she's still figuring that out. So we kind of just like pass them like off the sidewalk, and then like they start going, but she can't figure out how to get it to go automatically. So she like goes like a foot and then puts both feet on, and then it just kind of like stops. She like goes over, and they did this for like the entire walk, to the point where like we got back to our car before they even passed us, and like we had to walk like 2.5 blocks. And so like, but the entire walk we're constantly like, are they coming? Like they were right behind us, and they stopped. Like they just couldn't figure it out. And so like the whole time it was this awkward thing of like, when do we get off the side so they don't hit us? Because I don't trust them not to hit us. It was an interesting time there. And then
How do you not assume that there's like a problem? Hey, maybe we should look at the scooter, see if there's some kind of issue.
Do you know how to operate this thing? Like it was definitely user error, like 100% user error. I don't know if they ever actually figured it out, because we got back to our car, and like I think they started going, because I think as we were leaving, we ran at the corner and I saw them go or something. But I'm like, I just lean over to my wife and I'm like, they could have just walked and got here at the same time that we did, with less money and less hassle. So then the rest of the weekend was kind of terrible, because Henry has his molars coming in right now. He's like at least 3 molars coming in all at once, and those are apparently some of the worst teeth, because they're not sharp to break the skin and come through. So it's just these flat things just pushing up through your skin. Imagine how terrible that would feel. So he's been losing his mind for the last 3 days.
I'd be losing my mind. I'm losing my mind thinking about it.
Yeah, you'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my weekend. What'd you guys do? What have you been up to?
Go for it, Ralph.
Any more bee stings?
No, thankfully. The only noteworthy thing that happened with me was I went and I checked out some some floor tile, for kitchens and bathrooms. And so
Okay. You guys
got
doing
some
So you're
prices.
installing it yourself, or are you having someone do it, or what's the plan?
No, I'm gonna have someone do it.
Nice.
Did you go to Raleigh Tile?
Actually, yeah.
I mean, it's a family business that you're connected to, so.
Yeah, I actually did go there.
So this episode sponsored by Raleigh Tile, for all your tile needs.
Our new sponsor. Also, thanks for doxing me, but
What? Oh, taking your... Yeah, okay. Sorry.
no, not really. It doesn't matter. But yeah, no, actually, I did go there. My brother-in-law, his brother, actually both his brothers are manager or are like store owners of 2 different locations of Raleigh Tile, basically. So the location that I'm near, I went to that one, and they got me some pricing, and it all looks pretty good. Honestly, I was really happy with all the options, and brought home a bunch of samples. We laid them out and checked them out on the floor, because that's what you're supposed to do. Look at them how they're actually going to be, and then we were actually taken by surprise. I was certain that there was going to be this one that that was going to be my favorite, but then when we laid them all out, actually, we ended up really liking this other one. And so we got quotes for that one, and I just need to now I need to find someone who will do the install, because the thing is, it's not actually difficult to install this stuff. However, when it comes to the details, the little things that I don't know, and then like I would just find a hacky way to do it, that would drive me insane over time. So I'm fine with just getting a professional to do it.
I've done a lot of DIY stuff, and I like around my house, like fixing random things, some drywall, some like trim work, different things, and I know where every imperfection is, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Ugh, why do I suck?" But
There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
I saved time and
Yeah.
my own uh dissatisfaction with probably the way I would do it. It would drive me crazy. So
Yeah. Do you know
for me, it's worth it. And laying flooring, most people will do it for a decent price. So with some jobs, like you'll get ripped off 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But for flooring, you can sometimes find people, I think, who will do it for a reasonable price. So
Do you know I worked with Raleigh Tile for a little bit back in the day.
maybe I remember that.
Yeah. I
What was your?
It was
Yeah,
like some
what?
random stuff. I would help the owner. I'd help Brad out with random things. Like they'd get some shipments in, and I'd help unload trucks of like 50-pound, 100-pound bags of grout and all that stuff. I just remember like unloading all that stuff, and there's just like this, the dust, the concrete dust, all the dust in the air, and then like blowing my nose after, and it was just like gray. It's just like gray and black. I'm like, I'm just breathing all this in. This probably isn't that good.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
Yeah,
Definitely not.
I think I drove a forklift for something one time for him too.
yeah.
I don't know.
So, sadly, not as entertaining as a Sting story, but it's like the most mundane life thing ever. Going to look at tile. That's what my
great.
weekend came to.
You
But
accomplished more than me.
What'd you do,
did
Trevor?
I?
I mean,
Sit on
I
your
kept my
butt?
1-year-old alive this whole
I
time,
mean,
so
that's pretty big.
that's pretty big. I don't know if you guys or if Steven, you guys got hit as hard as we did last night with the rain.
It
But
wasn't bad.
oh, it was the hands down the most amount of rain per minute that we've had all summer long.
Jeez.
It was flooding. So our roof isn't that long, but it was so much water that it was flooding over the drain pipe, like
Oh my
all the way around the
gosh.
house. Like it was just like washing over the drain pipe. The pipe couldn't keep up with the amount
Like
of
over
water.
the gutters, you mean?
Yeah, over the gutters.
Like
Yep.
waterfalls everywhere?
Yep.
Holy
You
crap,
couldn't.
dude.
Yeah, it was crazy, and the streets were flooded. I'm not kidding. I woke up and everyone's trash can. It's trash day. Everyone's
Oh,
trash can was
jeez.
at the bottom of the street where we live.
Oh
Like it was
my
just all
gosh.
they had all washed down to where we
Dude.
were. I didn't notice it last night when I was watching because it was dark outside. But
Yeah.
um, I woke up and it's just like trash cans. I was like, oh, they must have been washed down with the
Was
water.
yesterday when we had that tornado warning come through?
No, that's 2 days ago.
That was 2 days
Yeah.
ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
So
a
it was the
tornado
day
warning
after that.
tonight.
Oh, you do?
I
We
saw
had
that.
one.
I saw that there's a lot out east going on right now.
But it just didn't happen. Like we were supposed to
Yeah.
near us there was like a hailstorm that came
Mm.
through.
Yeah.
But we had the same kind of warning, like look out for storms and possible tornado warning, but nothing ever really came from it. We got a pretty heavy rain that came through really fast,
Mm.
but it lasted for maybe 10 minutes and then it was sunny again.
Apparently,
So
Fort
weird.
Collins got like really bad flooding, which is like
Hmm.
2 hours north of us, Ralph. Yeah, I just saw like some pictures earlier, and it's like the downtown has like feet of water, like yeah, like you'd see in like after a hurricane, maybe not to that extreme, but like you see streets flooded and like cars can't drive because it's so deep and everything. Like it looked like that
Crazy.
just throughout their downtown. Nuts.
That's crazy.
But,
Yeah.
anyway,
I love it though. I
Anyway.
love the water.
well, maybe not in that case. I don't love it when it's
I
flooding.
don't love the flooding. I'm sorry for all those affected
So
by the floods.
rude,
if you're a
dude.
listener from Fort
Oh
Collins,
man, I love
you.
flooding, says
Sorry
Trevor.
about your basements, all right, but I like the water. I like the rainwater, the water that falls out of the sky. I like it.
I like rain too.
Yeah, I like rain
Actually,
too.
I'm with you there. A lot of
Thank
people
you.
give me flack for enjoying
Gosh, it's been a really
precipitation.
wet summer. I wish it would just be
Yeah.
really hot and sunny instead. It's like Yeah,
No.
you'd prefer brown grass and heat stroke?
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
I've
Yeah.
never had to
Weirdos.
maintain my yard as much as this year though. It's the first year I've actually mowed my lawn, which actually is great because
First year ever.
in this house, because it was like dirt for a long time, then weeds started overtaking everything.
You
So,
you grew the back, yeah, or you mowed the backyard. You told me that
yeah,
before.
yeah. So I've been doing it, throughout the summer.
Oh, okay.
It's constantly growing. It just can't, it grows so fast with all the rain we've been getting. But like, if I wasn't mowing, I would have had to, like, other summers I've gotten away with like using the weed eater like 2 or 3 times in a summer.
Mhm.
I would have had to do it like a million times. Otherwise, it's like my neighbor's yard. He's got weeds that are like 6 feet tall. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this
Really
is
gets away
ridiculous.
from you fast.
Yeah, and then it's like, what do you do with that? It's such a pain to hack it all down and deal with it because I've done it
If
before.
I don't mow every single week, it's really bad.
Dang.
The grass grows so fast.
I feel like that's where I'm at now. I feel like I have to do it every week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so we also work on board games. There's there's some life updates. We've been
Even and I got at it earlier. You guys should have heard. It was what's the manly version of a cat fight?
You guys fought?
fisticuffs.
Yeah,
A round of
that's
It's
fisticuffs.
like brawl. It's a brawl. The
brawl,
opposite
thank
of a
you.
cat fight is like a bar brawl.
Yeah, bar brawl. We were throwing beer bottles.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else happens at a
flipping tables?
Yeah.
Bust
flipping
through those
tables.
saloon doors.
I broke a pool cue in half and stabbed him.
Shit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ooh.
Watch out! Don't ever get in a bar brawl with me. Let me tell you what.
I'd say we kept it pretty civil. I'd say it was a constructive argument.
Wait, was I on the call? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, it was when we were chatting
earlier?
about this.
Just right before this, when I was losing my mind, and Steven kept throwing, just real hateful words my way, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So.
Huskers suck, and
Huskers suck.
For those of you not watching on video, Trevor's head just about exploded. Trevor,
a lot of self-control to not explode.
Have you heard of the Huskers before, Trevor?
Moving on. No, actually, okay.
It's a Nebraska team. There's a lot of.
This is exciting. Exciting. So, all of you who are watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm a Husker fan.
Yeah.
Right. I got all this Husker stuff. I went to the University of Nebraska for college. Yada yada yada. My whole family's a big Husker. We're the Husker fan club of Colorado.
All about that corn.
What do you call a Huskers fan?
Huh?
What do you call a Huskers fan? There's got to be a nickname.
Husky.
A husky?
No. That is a Washington thing.
A cob.
A cobber.
Corn cob.
I don't know. We are the Huskers.
Hey, you just call him a Husker fan.
Yeah. Anyway,
you call him disappointed.
There's a Nebraska Colorado game this fall.
Oh.
The first time they've played, there used to be a pretty big rivalry between Nebraska and Colorado. This is the first time they played in a few years. And they both have 2 new head coaches. And so I know you two don't care because you don't care about sports games, but
I went to a sports game, Trevor.
Yeah,
how dare you?
Say, yeah. Even might. I don't know.
I don't care. I don't. He's right.
The tickets for this game, because of all the hype surrounding it, averaging right now are about $350 for just a normal section seating. So, and it goes up into thousands of dollars if you want a nice ticket for this game. Normally college games, you can get a ticket for $50-$60, something like that, if you want to find something reasonable. So for one person for $350, it's crazy. I wasn't gonna be able to do it. Ended up getting a ticket for free.
Hey.
I'm on my way to the game, and it is right at the end of August, or it's actually the very beginning of September. But
okay,
I'm super stoked.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. So anyway, we make board games.
Yes. Back to that.
Yeah. Trevor and I, we did not argue. We were just trying to come to an agreement about a certain mechanic in our game, on how armor and companions and all that works, just based on other feedback and some things we're doing to simplify stuff. It kind of causes this chain reaction of hey, we've changed this thing, which then affects everything down the line. And so there's just a lot of things to figure out. And then one of the solutions that I proposed that we adjust was going to do the same thing, and just we'd have to go and change out a bunch of other things. So we're just doing a couple small tweaks to make it kind of still streamlined, simplify some stuff, but maintain kind of the integrity of our original vision for some of that stuff. Also, this past week in board game news, Ralph showed me where he's at with the card frames, which we saw the work in progress. He's hiding behind his mic, guys. Earlier, and that's on our website too for the work in progress cards.
Right, yeah.
But now he's been refining that, kind of working on each individual piece, so it's kind of modular, and as the cards have different pieces, they'll show up or not show up whether they need them.
Yes.
And then hopefully pretty soon we'll be able to connect our spreadsheets with those and get all the info tied together, because next week, hopefully, do you think we'll be able to do it next week, Ralph?
Yeah, the hardest part,
We'll get some version.
interestingly, has been the organization of the file, because I'm trying to account for every possible variable.
There's a lot.
So there are kind of a lot, but it's going very well. And honestly, by the time listeners and viewers are seeing this episode, the card should be...
I keep forgetting it's only Monday.
Yeah, the card should be pretty much finished up by the time you're hearing this episode. So we might have something for you to look at. And so should.
And then what I was beginning to say, I'm really bad at telling stories, people. I keep going back to the context all the time. Be like, well, before I tell you that, let me go back a step and tell you why we got here. And so we're talking about the cards because next Tuesday, did we decide on Tuesday? Was that the 15th? We're going to be doing our monthly live stream, and we will be playtesting our game on Tabletop Simulator, Ralph's first play, and also the first broadcast full gameplay of a game for it. And so this past week, I started getting everything onto Tabletop Simulator, have all the components except for the cards, because we're gonna hopefully get the new card layouts with the new frame artwork in there, so that I don't have to do it twice with our old layout and then change everything out again. So I'm pretty excited. Yeah, it was actually not as hard as I thought it would be to get stuff into Tabletop Simulator. At least not what I've done so far, and even uploading the cards shouldn't be too bad. But it's so nice. I just created these like infinite bags where it just has you put one token that you want in there, and then it's just you can keep pulling out infinite tokens of that kind. Set up the player boards on there, set up kind of all these like locking points, so that I showed you guys that earlier end of last week, whenever that was. I added more anchor points, and you can set anchor points to rotate cards specific directions. So at the top of the forge, I locked all the player boards to the table, set anchor points on the table, so that when you drop a blueprint to craft it, it goes
oh nice,
and just like lines them up with that board.
Like stick.
Yeah, it feels good.
Nice.
Very nice.
I hate to throw a wrench in things. I just realized I can't do the 15th, so I don't want to lie to our listeners.
Wow.
I just realized that. So
okay.
We will find another date, but for those of you who are planning to watch us live, it will not be happening on the 15th, unless you guys are doing it without me, which is fine too, because I want Ralph to be able to play no matter what, even if I'm not able to.
It'd be much better with a 3-player game, though.
I agree.
We can probably wait till it works out.
Can you do the 14th or the 17th?
Yeah, the 14th is probably better.
Monday the 14th?
Hold on, I literally just put my calendar away for some reason.
All right.
1 week from today?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. I mean, it was a week and a day.
We'll figure out a time. We'll figure out a time. We'll let
for
you
the
guys
listeners, it's going to be just in...
Oh.
It's going to have... Wait.
Look on our Instagram. I will let you know at least the day before whether it is going to be Monday the 14th or another day later that week.
Steven promises to appear shirtless for that episode. So if you really want to see Steven shirtless, show up.
It's actually
If he doesn't show up shirtless, we'll just give him a lot of crap. But he told me personally on the side that he will do it. So
we're going by the rules of strip Foundry.
Yes.
And since I lose every time,
whoever's played the most and lost the most, so the worst losing percentage, it has to show up shirtless. He'll also be pantless. You just won't see that on stream.
So technically, okay. Well, I'm just gonna find a workaround. Technically, I'll be shirtless, but I won't be sweaterless. I'll wear a sweater, and then joke's on you.
Steven, that's fine as long as you stay true to your word.
Yeah, no t-shirts underneath.
People know what they want.
Yeah. Anyway, yep. So there's progress on the game. Got on Tabletop Simulator sometime next week. We're gonna live stream playing that. And yeah, I've been doing a lot more researchy things, figuring out where we're going with this game. Guys, so something I want to talk to you about. Actually.
Oh
no. Just come close. Gather around.
Oh, yes.
Come in here. So guys. So here's the thing. Yeah, I was thinking about.
I can't hear you anymore.
Sorry. So guys. I was thinking. So you know how we talked about scope creep?
Yeah.
And not doing the solo co-op mode kind of thing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But then at the same time, we talked about taking our time and doing this the right way and getting the product out and like taking our time to get it completed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I had this thought, if we're not in a rush and we're taking our time to do, okay, I can't do this anymore. If we're not in a rush,
I'm like, okay, are we committing to the bit? But this is also probably actually important.
This is actually important. If we're not in a rush and we're trying to make this game be as successful as possible, then would it be worthwhile to do the co-op mode and just push things back? I don't know how, a little bit longer, to potentially bring in a bigger audience from the get-go? Or do we keep it kind of minimum viable product? It works, it's good, and doesn't need a co-op mode, and like we keep that, like we talked about, as a future expansion.
Do you have an estimation of how many extra pieces that would turn into?
So my estimation, if we say we include two bosses in the core game, the core game, let's just say 3, so there's more variety. In the core game, the co-op mode has 3 unique bosses. That's 3 boards, probably the double layer thickness if we get better upgrades and all that too. Not as big as our forge boards, they'd be smaller. That's 3 boards, and then say each boss has its own little deck of its own ability blueprint cards, and say, just for simplicity's sake, it has 10 cards. So it would have 3 new boards, 30 new cards, and a couple more tokens throughout. So component wise, it'd be, the whole game would have 125 130-ish, 120, 130 cards, rather than the 90 plus the couple extra random things we have in there. And a few more tokens, and then like 3 more little boards. So like, it's not drastically a lot more. And the reason I'm bringing this up, I was doing a lot of research on like the amount of components we have, the cost of the production of the game, the cost, and then like similar games on Kickstarter or that have been on Kickstarter, and kind of what components they have, how many they have, and how much they charged for their games and everything. And even thinking about like the size of the box. Right now, our game would fit in the box for Pandemic. Our player boards are not quite that large, but we might make them a little bit bigger. But it would have some like empty space. Even with 90 cards, it almost feels like it's like, is it going to give enough value to people on its own? Which I think it does. I think there's enough replayability. There's enough difference, enough different like variations of gameplay and things. And I think component. There's a lot of different tokens and other things too. So like as a standalone competitive game, I think it could still be fine. But then my thought was like, if we're taking our time anyway and we're not worried about like we need to get this thing out there right away, would it be worthwhile to spend time on co-op mode, for a few more components and other things and development time, right away? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Trevor, you should weigh in because you've developed the multiplayer game, so you know development time on all that troubleshooting and everything. But my particular take in terms of artwork is going to be we continue developing the multiplayer, and then once we're done, we will have an idea as to how long roughly it would take to develop out the rest of the artwork. So on the artwork side,
Yeah.
we might have a better idea of how long it would take to build out like 3 more boards and 30 more cards, tokens. Once we're through developing the core game.
Yeah.
But I can't speak to development time on like the game itself.
It's gonna have, the combat is gonna work the same. The only difference is figuring out how that same combat affects bosses, which we've kind of talked through before. And we talked about like the different, bosses, different regions on them that you target or whatever. So the biggest thing would be just like making a boss, figuring out, how we target different things and then how their abilities work without having to like have someone manage the boss playing their resources and doing all that. So, I mean, it's just going to take, it would take some iterations trying different things, but honestly, I don't think it would take forever. The positive that I see is that it adds more value to the whole game overall, brings in different audiences. If people want a crafting combat game, but they don't want to fight each other, they're not in a competitive stuff, they want to work together, competitive mode lets them do that. But also like solo, you can do that as well. Essentially it's attracting 2 different audiences. So that's one thing where I'm like, maybe it's a negative because it's essentially making 2 separate games that use the same components. Like the gameplay still plays the same, but it's a different thing that you're working towards. But then again, it almost feels like there's more value overall in the game because you could play competitive, but then if you don't have as many people, or you like just want to try something different, you can still be in the game and get the same gameplay experience without like going after each other, but you can work together against a boss. So yeah, Trevor,
we should just do what 343 does. We can say we're definitely going to launch with co-op and single player. It's going to be great. We're definitely launching. We would never lie to you, and then we just will never do it.
And then in a couple of years, we might have some elements of that, but then not support it.
But it'll be totally like half baked and crap.
Yeah.
So,
Trevor.
Honestly, half baked cookies are the best kind of cookies. So
I just had some cookies right before coming on here.
I think that's plastered on the wall at 343.
Half baked cookies are the best.
Yeah.
I believe that. So I agree with Ralph. I think for now, my personal preference would be no. Let's not continue the current game with that in mind. I don't want to spend any brain power or resources or any energy on that now. Let's go with the mindset that we're not tacking that on. And then if we get to a point where we go, man, we're wrapping things up quick, we're feeling good about the timeline, how much time we spent on it, keeping in mind that we have other game ideas we want to be working on in the future, and there's other things we're excited about. I want to weigh that once we're done with this base game. I want to weigh those other things with how much time is this going to realistically take us to, if it's 3, 4, 5+ months to add on this additional thing when we're geared up and ready to go with the base game. I'd say no, let's nix it and move on. If we think that there's value to it and it's only going to tack on a couple months, I think we consider it. But I just with how long this game's taken, I mean, we're new to this whole thing. We've got lives. We're not a true studio that can crank things out in months. We're talking about years at a time to develop these things. This isn't just on a whim. Let's tack this on sort of decision.
For sure.
This is a true sit down, do we want another 6 months working on this game, or should we just produce it and move on to the next thing? So
Sure.
I think if I had to make a decision now, it'd be no. But maybe we wrap up things pretty quick. We get art cranking, we get things finished up, and we go. Things went pretty quick on based on what we originally thought the timeline was going to be. Maybe we do add this on. So
Sure. And that could be something like, say we go to Kickstarter and people like really want this. I guess that's one thing. Guys, if you're listening, go to our Discord at bitwafflegames.com and you can find a link. You can find a link to our Discord. And
riot.
We
want single player. We want single player.
Yeah, you got to let us know. And maybe I'll post something on Instagram, see if we get any response there too. But like, would you be as interested in this game as just a competitive game, or would it add more value to have a solo / cooperative mode where you could craft and make things to fight against like a boss together? So let us know if you're interested in purely competitive, and if you're like, hey, that sounds great, that's what I want, or if you would like I need a co-op mode.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys have thoughts, let us know for sure. If you want solo, cooperative, just keep your thoughts to yourself. So
anyway, I guess, okay, so one last note on this subject. I guess my thought was like, oh, like initially, like we need a solo co-op mode because there's a lot of people that want solo mode or only like co-op games. But then I've seen more Kickstarters and other things go like succeed, and they are purely competitive games. Like there's a lot of games that don't have multiple modes like that, and so like it's not, I guess I realized it's not a necessity. Like I think it'd be cool and it would bring in a more of a different audience, but if that's not what the game is, it's not what the game is. And so there's something to be said about not tacking on a like another game mode just to have that game mode, as well as like if it's not adding value to the overall game, maybe not worth it. So
the boss of the solo cooperative mode, the name of the boss should be Scope Creep. He's a boss that he's a creep type monster. He like creeps around. He's all like,
okay, so all the bosses are master artificers. We've talked about the lore of this.
I understand.
He's just a creepy one.
This guy just came out of Portal from the Nether, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Scope Creep," and it's like he's voice acted.
Oh my gosh!
And it's
you're gonna voice his character. So
hello, my name's Scope Creep.
Sounds like a deranged Mickey
I'm
Mouse.
I'm gonna creep up on you. Hey everybody!
I'm a creepy monster.
Anyway, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? I feel like we should cut this off before it gets weirder.
What are you talking about, dude? This is the gem. This is what people come here to listen to our podcast for.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, specifically. Old Trevor the Creep himself, guys.
Hi, I'm Scope Creep.
Okay. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thanks again for listening to this podcast, letting us send these sound waves to your ear holes. You can, if you're enjoying this, keep listening to the podcast, and you can find out more. Yeah, you got so messed up there. We have an Instagram. It's Waffle Games. We have a Discord channel. Like I said, you can find it at our website, bitwafflegames.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter at our website, which I'll be sending out monthly updates on what we're doing. Yeah, that's it. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Oh my God. Bye.